All right, so we're back. That's still in there. We're about to take that out in a little bit. But what I wanted to show y'all was so that middle one, that's our screw when we marked it, and then what I went up. Those are the nails that we put in from the attic. That's going to mark the edge of our studs. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unscrew that right there, and then we're gonna put our template up there and trace out our template. And so the template, what it is, since we got a 6x10, what I did, I made a 6 1/8. So I believe this is 6 1/4, maybe 6 1/8 or 6 1/4 by 10 1/8 or 10 1/4. Pretty much gave a little bit of room just so we can have room to play around to get our register up in there without having to cut it twice. So I'm gonna go ahead and trace this out on the ceiling. We already got our mark as far as being like 16, 18 inches away from the wall. And we're just gonna get this marked out, hopefully get it nice and straight. All right, let's do it. And all I'm doing right now is looking at this line and trying to make sure it's kind of close to parallel with this line over here. With me doing that either extra 1/8 of an inch or the 1/4 of an inch, that'll give me room to play around with it if I need to adjust it any. Let me just give it one last look. I think that should have us right. Moved a little bit. All right. And that's our rough opening or our rough mark. So we'll get this what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get since I already got that drawn up, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go ahead and start taking out our light over here. Actually, I don't need that on anymore. I'm gonna start taking out our light, and then we're gonna work in getting some framework up in there, some studs, some support studs, our box put up there, a receptacle box put up there, and then hopefully get I guess a sheet of sheetrock up there, and maybe get some mud up there as well. All right, let's do it. All right, so that's what we got, a big hole in the ceiling. All right, so I'm gonna move out some of that insulation. I'm gonna push it back up in the attic, and then the next thing we're gonna do is get rid of these blocks right here. Yeah, all of the blocks right there, and then we're gonna make us a beam across here. Yeah, we're gonna put us a beam across there to support our receptacle box. Same receptacle box. It might be I don't know what you call the box, but our box that's gonna be that's gonna attach to our ceiling fan we can put up there. So I'm gonna get that stuff pushed up, and then we're gonna work on getting those blocks out. All right, so now I'm gonna do is just get a center mark for where we're gonna be putting our our um, our light fixture at. So I'm gonna just measure from the farthest point. They look close, like a 16, like a 16. Um, yeah, I'm gonna call it 16 on both sides. So what I'm gonna do is our midpoint is gonna be 8. Since I know our stud thickness that I'm gonna put up there is about 1.5 inches, I'm gonna just give it 2 inches. So instead of marking the 8, I'm gonna mark the 6, and then that's where we're gonna be putting our that's where we're gonna put our stud at. So what I'm gonna do now, first I'm gonna go ahead and cut out this. I'll show it to y'all. All right, so I'm just using the oscillating tool to square out this hole. And that's going to be for the purpose of finding our center a little bit better, as well as just having an easier piece of sheetrock to cut out. So what we're looking to do is get this receptacle box lined up center. And I know I got 16 inches across, and so normally midpoint would be 8 inches, but we're going to account for the width of our 2x4, so I'm going to back it up about 2 inches. So we're going to go 6 inches, and that's going to allow me to put the receptacle box on the stud. The receptacle box itself is about, the center of it is about 2 inches from where you attach the stud. All right, so on our rough opening, the stud I'm going to cut out. The dimensions we got is about 16 and shy of 1/4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the 16. Let me see. It's actually about 16 and 1/8, I think. So 16 and 1/8. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it 16 and 1/8 heavy as far as, or extra. Just cut it a little past that. Because what I'm looking for is a friction fit. I want it to fit in here tight, so I don't have to be worrying about trying to get it screwed in real quick. I can get it friction fit in there, get it, make sure it's center and everything, and then we'll be good to go. So yeah, we're gonna call it 16 and 1/8 heavy. Meaning I'm gonna cut past the 16th and 1/8 measurement, and then from there we'll shave it down if we need to get it to fit in here. And I forgot, the other thing I need to do is mark our midpoint. So the mid of 16 is 8, and like I said, we're going to back that up about 1.5 inches, but I'm going to do it 2 inches. So we're going to measure it to 6. I'm going to mark that, and that's going to be our midpoint for where we're going to place this stud at. So what I forgot about is I got to take these out too, because in order to get my stud right here, that's blocking it. So I'm gonna have to move those. I already got one out, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these other 3 out of here. All right, so our measurement was 16 and 1/8, and so I'm gonna measure it 16, and I'm gonna go 5/16, actually 3/16. Sorry, so I'm gonna go 16 and 3/16. And then what we're gonna do, the plan for that is to make sure we got more than what we need, and I can just shave off to get to that friction fit that we're looking for. So I'm gonna take this to our spot and see what we need, and then I'll be right back if I need to. All right, so this is what we got. That's my mark there, and that's what we're over. So I'm gonna go about 1/16 of an inch or half of a saw blade. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Shave it down. there's our line right there. All right, and there we go. So oh yeah, that's what we want right there. That's what we want. Sweet. All right, so since our stud is fitting up there, what we're gonna do is go cut out our drywall, our sheetrock. So I'm gonna go 17.5 by 17.5, just so we can have it in here. All right, so this is me just measuring up to 17.5 by 17.5. I'm using this T-square, making quick work of it. Instead of like making multiple lines, I'm just cutting my line with the blade just to get that knocked out. All right, and right here, what we're going to do, this is the fixture that I'm going to put up in there. And so like I was saying, center is about 2 inches from the part where you attach it to the stud. And so the goal is when I get this thing up here, I already got my 6 inches marked. And so I'm going to get it centered on one stud, and then I'll be able to just center it. Once that stud is installed, I'll be able to center the light fixture on that stud, and that should have us centered both ways. What I'm looking to do here, I believe I got 16 1/8 as far as in my my width, and so I cut my board a little heavy or a little bit extra, because what I'm looking to get is a tight friction fit. That way I can adjust it, get it make sure that it's straight in there, and I don't have to worry about it just falling out when I'm trying to attach, when I'm trying to drill through it and then put the screws in it, because I don't want it to be moving around. And so right now, we got it in there. It's a pretty good fit, nice and tight. Y'all see it right there. It ain't falling out. And so the idea is we're just going to keep tapping it to line it up on the lines that I got, and then making sure that it's flush at the bottom as well. And pretty much this is just taking your time, tap by tap. You don't want to give too much, because if it goes in there cockeyed in anywhere, it might be hard to get it out. So I'm just kind of inching it, or I guess millimetering it as I go, because I just rather take my time than have to undo something. So right now we just tapping it on each side, making sure it stays straight on my line, that it's not going cockeyed or anything like that. And so I'm real glad about the fact that we got a nice tight friction fit on this thing. And what I'm gonna have to do is the side that I'm pointing to now, I'm gonna have to screw that from the attic. I might have to screw that from the attic, but I'm gonna first put some screws on the side that I'm closest to, since I have more clearance to get the drill inside there. I think I'm saying something super important right now, but I can't remember what I was saying. And that's so sad. That microphone gave out on me. It did that throughout the recording. I don't know if it's just a loose fixture on my phone, where it just kind of came loose, and I forgot to connect it back inside the recorded program. But anyway, we're just gonna continue tapping it in there. And what I'm looking to do as well is to get a good visual on the bottom of this board, to make sure it's lined up with the actual framework of the ceiling joist and everything, because I don't want my box hanging down further than it needs to. And so yep, we just poke a hole in it, we pre-drilled, and then put a screw into it. I'm using about a 3.5 inch screw. And I was able to get a screw on this other side. Surprisingly enough, I just angled my bit, a good bit. And right now here, I'm just measuring for midway on the stud I just put in, to see where I need to try to land this register box, receptacle box here. And so we got our mark, and now the next thing we're going to do is install this receptacle box. And pretty much what I'm going to do is just get it lined up, to my line, and I'm gonna put two short screws in it. That way it can go in quickly. I'm, um, I'm gonna put them cat a corner to each other, just to hold it in place. And then I'm gonna put two longer screws because this thing has four holes. So I'm gonna then put two longer screws in the other holes because this thing does need to stay up. There's gonna be a weight um, hanging down from it, and I do want it to be nicely fastened to this ceiling. I don't want it to be coming out. And so here I think I'm just running through the plan as far as where I'm gonna put these screws in. I got the two small screws that I'm gonna go ahead and plug in here first. And then what I'm gonna do for this before I actually install it, on these receptacle boxes, the metal ones, they have these little tabs on it. And pretty much all you need is like something hard, like a punch or kind of anything hard, just to tap at it. And what happens is it's gonna come open a little bit, and then you can find you something to pry at it, pliers, a linesman, or anything to pry it back and forth in the little tab that'll come right out. Because even right here, what I'm just using a screwdriver that I had on hand just to kind of poke at it. You just want to make sure you don't poke inside your hand when you're doing this. And so right there, that's it almost out. And pretty much the way it is, it'll work like a hinge. So you could just bend that back and forth. You could try to use your hand. I don't know, you might take the risk of cutting yourself or anything if there's a burr on it. But it's best to just use like a pliers or something like that. And it comes, you a little bit of back and forth and it'll come right on off. All right, so I think now we can finally get this box installed. I think I've done enough talking. And so all I'm doing again is just lining it up with the line that I already marked, just trying to eyeball the receptacle box, make sure it's center. This one worked out pretty good because on the bracket on the back of it, there's like a tab on it, so that helped me find center. What I'm pointing to here is the bottom of that bracket, just getting it lined up with my stud. Um, and just to make sure to keep it straight, on each side of this receptacle box, there's these little, I guess, claws. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of tapping them in just to get them to bite into the wood so they can stay in place while I get my screw and my drive and drilling the screw to fasten it to the stud. And right there is interesting balancing acts on this particular drill. I don't have a magnetic tip, so I got to make sure if I put a screw on that, I got to make sure to keep it steady until I get it in contact with what I'm trying to screw into. And so right here, I believe my drill just died on me. Um, that was real odd. When I found out what was going on, I confirmed it wasn't just the battery. My drill had actually died because I had another battery on a charger, and that one didn't cut it on either. But the good thing is I got a backup, so we're moving on. I'm gonna retire that drill for a little bit and probably open it up at a later time to kind of see what's going on with that. All right, so right now I'm putting in the longer screws, and I'm doing those ones the same way, putting them catty corner to each other, and pretty much these are gonna pretty much go through the depth of this stud. be able to grip and hold on a whole lot more in order to bear the weight of the fan that we're gonna put on that. I'm also not just going to leave this one stud just to bear all of the weight. I'm gonna put another stud inside there connecting to this stud in the actual frame of the ceiling joist, and then I'm gonna attach or fix the box to the bottom of that stud as well to give it some support as far as from being able to bend down forward. So we're gonna get some more support on it that way, because once I get this up, I do not want it leaning and looking strange as you look up at it from the floor. And so we're going to do everything we need to do while we're up here. All right, and that's the piece I cut out. I already measured it, and I'm trying to do the same thing I did with the longer piece, just get a friction fit. This one's not a 2x6, this one's a 2x4, because unlike the 2x6, it doesn't sit behind the fixture. This one's going to sit on top of the fixture. Yeah, it's going to sit on top of the fixture. So this one is not a 2x6, this is a 2x4 piece that I'm putting in. And what I'm just doing here is just getting it lined up as best as I can, just make sure it's straight. And I'm going to put some screws through this receptacle box into the stud to hold it in place. And then once I go up in the attic, I'll screw it down from the top onto the stud that I installed, as well as onto the to the framework of the ceiling. All right, and there it is. We got two screws in it. I got my hold already popped out in the receptacle, so that way when we get up in the attic, we can just run our wire down and put all our screws in, and everything is in place. Because you don't necessarily want to be trying to mess with that, up in the attic if you don't need to. So best to do it while you're on the ground and stable. And so that's looking pretty good. I think that's going to be enough to hold up that front portion of the receptacle box so it doesn't lean down or anything like that. Um, and so right now what I'm doing, I'm taking that piece, that 17.5 inch by 17.5 inch sheetrock. What I'm going to do is just try to tack it up. It's not going to fit flush because we got that receptacle box in the middle. But I'm just going to try to tack it up in the spaces that are closest to the stud. So I'm gonna put a few screws in these corners as I can, just to hold it in place enough to where it can just stay up there on its own while we locate the actual receptacle box behind this sheetrock. All right, so we just got we got the drywall patched up. We got our hole cut out for our little box where we're gonna attach our ceiling fan. We got some mud up there. I'm gonna let that let that sit overnight since we're getting into the evening hours over here. I'm gonna get on to this next little part. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Then I'm gonna go in the attic and extend the duct work that was coming here. I got to put another piece on it to make it long enough to get over there. And then hopefully we're going to get this piece. We will get that piece in there as well. So hopefully this all goes good. I'm going to get on it. So right now we're just going to cut this piece out.